standing. All right. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone, thank you for coming. Our meetings are recorded, just so everyone knows that, so Gary and Jim, if you have a conversation over there, that audio is pretty good. Just a reminder for everyone to turn off their cell phones. And please remember to keep all audience participation to a 5 minutes per person. If you do stand up and you do want to talk, we just ask that you say your first name, last name. If you don't feel comfortable saying your last name, then at least your first name and what town you're from if you're not from Otisville. Okay, that being said, 7:01, we'd like to, can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
I will make the motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you, Brian. Can I get a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Lance. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. This is a public hearing on local law number 1 of 2023. I guess I'm going to read this, Christine. Local law to establish a real property tax exemption for qualified volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers.
Notice, okay. This appeared in the Times Herald Record on, what date was this? Is it on here? Oh, 8, good. 25, we know that's not true. 5/25/23. 5/25/23, I'm sorry. This public notice is hereby given that there has been presented to the Village Board of the Village of Otisville, Orange County, New York, on the 4th day of May, 2023, a proposed local law number 1 of 2023 entitled A Local Law to Establish a Real Property Tax Exemption for Qualified Volunteer Firefighters and Ambulance Workers. The full text is on file for public review at the Office of the Village Clerk, 66 Highland Avenue, Otisville, New York, 10963, or online at www.villageofotisville.com. The Village Board of the Village of Otisville will hold a public hearing on the aforesaid proposed law at the Village Hall, 66 Highland Avenue, Otisville, New York, 10963, at 7 p.m. on the first day of June 2023, at which time all interested persons shall be heard. Written comments may be directed to the village clerk by mail or email at villageclerk@villageofotisville.com prior to 5 p.m. on the day of the public hearing. By order of the Village Board, Christine M. Natalo, Village Clerk, May 18th, 2023.
Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
At this time, we're going to open up for public comment. Anyone would like to say anything, just please stand up, state your name. Okay, that was a quick.
I'm gonna just, there's no other public comment after?
Yeah. No, this is for the public hearing.
Oh, okay. I'll wait.
Anyone else from the public want to say anything about this local law number 1? Okay. How you doing? You're not here to speak about the public or the local law, are you?
Me?
Yes?
Yes, Karen, I am.
All right. Which one? What are you here to speak about?
About audit development.
Oh, no, okay, something different. Nope, this is
Okay.
okay. No problem. I'll see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, if no one has any comment, I'd just like to thank Diane for working on this. I kind of was involved by being on the town board. I know they passed it, but I think this is a great thing for local volunteers. And that being said, if no one else has any board member comments on this? Okay. Okay, then let's close the public hearing at 7:04. Can I get a motion?
Move to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Bob.
Second.
Thank you, Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Quick public hearing. Okay, can I get a motion to open our regular board meeting?
The motion to open.
Thank you, Brian.
Second.
Thank you, Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Call the meeting to order here. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, May 18th, 2023?
I make the motion to approve the minutes
Thank you,
from the
Lance.
last meeting.
Thank you, Lance. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence, Christine?
We have a draft draft copy of the meeting minutes from May 18th, 2023 regular meeting of the village board. Bank of New York Mellon statements have been received for the weeks of May 15th and May 22nd. On May 26, 2013, the village clerk received the signed affidavit for public hearing advertisement regarding the June 1st public hearing. The Otisville Volunteer Fire Department has forwarded an application for Peter Dodson for approval tonight. On May 22nd, 2022, letters were sent to Angel Murizio, Todd Murizio, and Jody Murizio regarding the dedication of the Veterans Park Pavilion in Lou Murizio's memory to be held on July 22nd. On May 30th, the village clerk and Mayor Carey received a memo from trustee Brian Latimer regarding completion of his third quarter review assignment. GRS payments have been received from Locust Telecommunications and Time Warner Info Services New York LLC. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Christine. One thing I didn't add, Rory, our village attorney, will be here. He did call, he's running late. He had a personal issue come up, but he will be here. So when he walks in the middle of the meeting, I just want everyone to know why he's late. I'm sorry I didn't say that. Jim, Town Mount Hope.
Just a couple of things, reminders. Our next meeting will be next Monday, the 5th, at the Senior Center. We're holding our annual police awards, starting at 7:30 at the Senior Center. And just a reminder that we are still holding summer camp registration for campers. The last sign up will be June 7th at the Town Hall from 6 to 8 p.m. And right now, we're looking to hold the camp at the youth center due to the possible budget not passing again. If anyone doesn't know, the budget doesn't pass, and the outside organization has to pay to use the facility. So, but that's what we're waiting to find out. So hopefully, it'll pass. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Jim. I'm just going to skip Rory's report. DPW, Frank.
I got a few things that John's covered. Received a copy from Pittsburgh Tank and Tower, our village storage tank inspection, repair quote, gave a copy to the mayor and to Bob Klaus for review. Also, John will be attending highway school on Monday, June 5th through the 7th. And on June 8th, myself, John, Jimmy, and Mike will be attending a water class at the town of Walk Hill Golf Club. John?
We're still waiting on some more wood chips for the playground equipment. If anyone's noticed anybody's been down there, what we put in here, it's starting to look really good. We cleaned up the graffiti off of the slide and stuff. We put the water bags on the trees. We're watering it right now. We water it twice a week. Seems to be good. We finished up trash report. Bulk trash, we had, this year was a little lighter than normal. We only had 29.1 tons, which cost the village $3,685.90 to get rid of. Tires, we took 4 loads, was at $392. We took 12 loads of scrap metal down, which brought the village back in $880 this year. Which you turn the checks over to Christine.
Yep, today.
Okay. I've been working on finalizing the quotes for the playground equipment, tables, signs, the doggy stations for the next meeting for the park. So I'll have everything for that. I also met with the owner of 8 Sanitarium Avenue. The final part that we've been waiting on for the last 10 months to come in, came in. And so on June 22nd, we're going to be installing his 2-inch water service for his sprinkler system into his building. That's all I got.
Question I have for you, I drove by the village park last night after dusk, and I know all the lights on the bathrooms are on. If we have more graffiti problems, is it possible to turn, I know we have parking lot lights, and I'm not saying we need to run them all the time, because I don't see that electric bill, but do we have the ability to run 1 or 2 of them, or are they all on?
No, they're set up on 4 different breakers, I believe.
Okay.
I have to double check that, but I believe it's either 2 or 4. It goes like 2, 2, 2, 2 across.
And the only other thing, if we have more graffiti on any playground equipment, I just want to follow up with the police department, so it's on file.
Okay.
So if something happens outside of the village, and they can kind of put it together.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that from my report, I'll talk right now. When I was in the city with graffiti, we would take the pictures, we save them. Cause they think they're artists when they're tagging your property. So you keep saving them and you build a case. Cause the same tag and writing they'll do somewhere else. So that's why I saved the picture on the phone.
Yeah, I saved them right
Yeah,
there.
you keep saving it, because it'll lead up to, they'll tag somewhere else, and you build a page for it. So, that's the best you can do, really,
Yeah.
until you, unless you kept it right-handed, is save the tag, because they own that tag, and they're proud of it, so.
Hopefully, the next meeting we'll get Mike back in, but I'm just saying if, hopefully it doesn't happen. But if it does, that's all. I know we're putting this big bridge in, it's gonna be a nice billboard, and I hope it's not, what do you call it, 2 kids for graffiti, but, it does have graffiti spray on there, but we'll see. Go ahead, Agnes.
Well, just following up on what Lance said, that they like people to know it was them. I think Christine was here. There was a time we were pouring cement on Main Street, and there was graffiti in it, and they signed their names to the cement.
Then they have to pay to have it fixed.
Yes, they did.
Okay, all right, thanks, guys.
That's it.
I'll skip down here to trustee reports. Where did I start off last time? Did I start off with you, Diane, or start off with Bob? I start with, okay, Bob, we'll go your way to that.
I think you actually started with me, but I want to consider an honor
All
again.
right.
I got a copy of the tank repair thing. Is it our intention to repair it or replace it? I was kind of under the impression that we were looking to replace it. But have we come to a decision which one we're going to do, or?
Did we send letters to the state?
We talked about it. I don't, did,
The last time we talked about it, and I think that we have a gentleman that Brian talked about now, currently, who might be able to help us with that. But initially, several years ago, we spoke to the state. We had somebody from their facilities, like a facilities manager came in from Albany, I think. And the state seemed to be pretty agreeable to paying like 65 to 70% of the cost of it, but they were waiting for, and then we were able to present them with the cost of the tank itself. And obviously there are other costs involved, like excavation, electric, plumbing, that kind of stuff. So they wanted a full project analysis before they could give us a certain answer as to whether they would do that. So we would have to get that in order for the state to give us to. But at the time, a couple of years ago, they seemed pretty agreeable.
Because to repair this one, it would be around $208,925. And it probably wouldn't be all that much more to replace it, right? I mean, money-wise.
Well,
This is an old one. I don't know, but
we got
say
the
that
prices
you-
back a few years ago.
We
so
did, I don't think that, I
Well,
haven't found
sorry.
that
The
got
prices for the
even-
new tank we got a few years ago.
So
And
definitely.
COVID hit,
went up.
kind of screwed everything
Yeah.
up.
certainly, if the state will help us out with replacing it, it's going to be cheaper to do that than it would be to repair it. When we worked up the figures way back, it came out to almost the same for the tank itself as it would be to repair the existing tank. And so the feeling of the board at the time was, yes, we should go ahead and pursue trying to replace it rather
Yeah,
than
but
repair it.
that's over 50 years old, right?
1970 was put in.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether it's worth putting all that money into that old tank, that old tank.
Right.
All right. The other thing, on the old school community center, we need to determine definitively where the property lines are. There seems to be some confusion. One map that they have up there shows the school line to be right along the fence, and everything on the other side of the fence not on the school property. But since they took it over up there, they assumed that the little other side of the fence there, the slopes, were part of the school property. But I don't know, does anybody here know definitively where the
You mean
lines
between
are?
the street and the fence?
Yeah, what is the line, in other words, right along where the fences are now, excluding the slopes outside, or do they include the slopes right out to the road?
Can I answer you?
Yeah.
I got involved with a conversation with Lance and I about this. I saw the map you're talking about. I immediately called the assessor.
You're the mayor.
He's working on it. hopefully by the next meeting, because he comes back Monday, which I know is the police awards, but the assessor's working on it.
Working on what, trying to figure out exactly what the lines
I
are?
think, let me say this, I think the lines in the map, that's a town map, by the way, the town of Mount Hope paid for that map in 2008. So when they got the old school from Minnesing, they actually paid for the survey map, and where the pins are, I 100% agree with the statement that would be that you own to the pins. The tax assessor told me he's never heard of anyone owning to the pins and not to the road, under any circumstance. He was gonna look into it, get back to me, as soon as I find out an answer, we'll talk about it, but to be continued, if that's a fair statement.
Okay, yeah.
We are, listen, immediately looked into it, because the survey map that Lance brought down and showed me, I would agree with that statement, but again, I'm not the tax assessor, and I think the comment was, well, we only own to the lines, but the village has to own the rest. I would say at some point, when the village puts sidewalks in there, I would imagine there's some sort of easement, because the sidewalks were put in, I was told, after the fact.
They're on the other side of the
Well,
road.
there'd be an easement because of the water mains anyway, so.
So, to be continued. I will
Sounds good.
get an answer from the assessor, and if that's not a good enough assessor, we'll get it from the
We'll
county.
get to the bottom of it.
Yes.
Planning board, I'm still on hold pending completion of our personal business before the board. Hopefully that'll be done this month or next month. The town meeting, I'm gonna go to your meeting Monday night. Just a reminder, the summer concert series starts July 4th, and every Tuesday thereafter for 8 weeks. And that's all.
Thanks, Bob. See, that's the worst part about going last. Someone else mentioned something like this. Brian, what do you got?
All right. Like Christine mentioned, I finished up the bank recs, emailed you guys, so that's all completed. I spoke to John about a few little mishaps over the winter. We're gonna go over that next meeting. I worked on the firehouse budget a little bit. I handed them out to everybody for you guys to review. Not gonna go on it right now. Hopefully, if there's anything that comes up next meeting, we can vote on it and start the process for the women's bathroom, the fire hall. Besides that, what was the other thing I had? The end of the season Little League picnic is coming up June 17th, it's Saturday, from 10 to 2. You guys are all welcome to come up and see what's going on. It's gonna be crazy. We're probably gonna need your help a little bit too. So I'll talk to you guys after set a few things up, maybe. And then besides that, what am I forgetting? Yeah, that's it for now.
Thank you, Brian. Lance, what do you got?
Okay, since we always talking some of, I don't play Little League, but I do go by the Little League just about 3 or 4 nights a week, and they're playing games every single night, which is great because no rain. I have to thank Brian, and it's true for that. Everybody tell me the parks are looking good. Mike Hornbuck and Phil also spoke on it. The grass wasn't overcut, so John, you guys doing a great job there. Even by the clock, that's all cleaned up. Tell you guys, Frank, John, and Diane, you can tell the party up to flag. The graffiti, we already talked about the graffiti, and let everybody know that the building inspector will be checking on violations. So if we have violations that is standing out in the yard, don't get mad if they go by and they see the violation. Not like they're gonna go in your backyard and dig up a hole and find something. So that's about all I have to say right now. That's one of the questions.
Thanks, Lance. What do you have, Diane?
All right, just a few things. Starting off with the small businesses, we did hang up the DMV van signs in almost all the villages, all of the businesses in the village, and that seemed to work very nicely. Brian and I together, going back and forth, I think we've identified all of the businesses. We came up with 14. So we just split that up so that we're not duplicating and, you know, both of us going in and talking to the same people. So just real quick, he is doing Mixed Market, Grogan's Hardware Store, Chan Fu, Nick's Pizza,
the Otisville Mart and Decker's Garage. I've got the post office, the bank, the liquor store, Pizza Mania, Precision Style Salon, Yuli's Garage, and Greg Styles Building. So, we probably, the first time we did the list, we missed about 6.
Yep.
Little by little,
If there's
I
any
think
more that we
we've
don't
got
know, let us
everybody.
know. I don't know.
So,
I think that's all.
and certainly, you know, if one or the other can't do it, then we work together, but that will just expedite things. Okay, streetlights, you may have noticed on Facebook, there is a posting about how to report malfunctioning streetlights. Brian actually took a picture of what the tags look like, so if we're asking people, can you check the tag, they know what they're looking for. And I already have something drafted for the newsletter that gives all basically the same information. So people who are on Facebook, hopefully will find it there. Reminder that the newsletter, that the fall summer issue is due no later than next meeting. And we talked at the last meeting about the fact that since a lot of the trustees' liaison responsibilities have shifted, you need to kind of look at that and see if there's a particular area that you need to be looking at. Brian, if you could mention to fire department, I think Kate usually winds up doing it, but you know,
Newsletter stuff.
yes, they should let her know what they want if they don't submit it themselves.
Okay.
And Frank and John know what to do. The yard sale, I'll probably be talking about this from now until the yard sale comes, but again, it is the first Saturday in August, August the 5th. The county requires a permit because of our rerouting traffic on Highland Avenue and Seabolt Avenue, which are county roads. Marie from the police department, before she left, put the application together. She left it with the chief, and he told me just to get with him as soon as we have the insurance certificate. We had to wait for June 1st when it renews. So as soon as I can get that from Christine, I'll get with Mike, and that will be submitted. We don't anticipate it to be a problem. It's the exact same work we've had year after year.
The yard sale's the 6th or the 5th?
The 5th.
5th.
Yard sale committee will begin meeting in June. We usually meet once in June and once or twice in July. So volunteers are needed. Anybody's at least been interested, let me know. We'll let you know when the meetings are. Community Advisory Board to the state and federal correctional institutions. Again, it's rescheduled, but I believe we're on board here for June the 13th at the FCI Training Center. And I will be notifying all the CAB members. I waited until June 1st just in case it was to be rescheduled again. Because of COVID, the facilities have been under restrictions, both about having guests into the facility and also about allowing their administrators to go out to what are considered non-essential meetings. So every time we would go to plan a meeting, the county would spike COVIDs, they'd go back under code red or red alert or whatever they call it, and the meeting would have to be canceled. But things seem to be smoothing out, God willing. Let's hope that we're able to get back on track now. And the only other thing I had was for Frank and John. I noticed this myself, and then I had a resident complain to me. The vegetation by the bridge is, the county needs to cut it again. I realize it's not high on their priority list because they're getting ready to cut the bridge down, but if you're in a sedan, you cannot see. You've got to pull right out into traffic. So that's it.
Thank you, Diane. Mine should go pretty quick here. Thank you to Lois being first and then Phil being second for no mow May. Make sure you pass that along that the right way. Obviously being June 1st, my message would be mow your lawn. Any of the signs that anyone wants to hold, I know we have some, Phil, and I had said that we'll hold on to them here at Village Hall. And we'll see next year how it works, and we'll go from there. But thank you for bringing the idea, or your wife, and then you following her here, and just pass that along.
Watch out for the bees.
Yes. Bridge construction, really the only information that I have between last meeting and this meeting is, can you pass me that? I mean, it's not much of a picture, but this is a picture from the county of what the wall's gonna look like. It's basically gonna be textured. It does have 3 coatings of some sort of spray for anti-graffiti. Again, it can stick, but I guess it's supposedly easier to get off, but this ultimately is what the outside of the bridge is gonna look like. So, I'm sure when it's up, we're all gonna know exactly what it looks like, but, June 15th is our next meeting. I hope to have a little more of an update. If something, God forbid, happens faster than that, we will put it out online and we will get people notified. But that bridge, current bridge, will be closing at some point between now and July 1st. The detour road will be opened. So I would say that the detour road, obviously, they're gonna work on first, and that's gonna be the first part of it. And we'll see how it goes. All I can really tell you right now is it's a 10-month project. The contractor is gung-ho to get it done in those 10 months, because if it takes longer, then he has to start paying back or into, or whatever the fine is for him not getting it done. But I'd like to say hopefully that bridge is coming, and I can't wait to see it. Just to touch on what Diane said, and thank you to Diane and Brian and everyone else that kind of posted this and got it out. Our DMV bus coming to Village Hall here last Friday, the 26th, was very successful. I happened to pull in here at 9:50, and what I can tell you is there was 14 people in line before the bus even got here. They ended the day with 56 customers. I definitely think it paid for us to advertise 3 weeks early. I know other municipalities don't had or have not had success of 56 customers, so I think it's great, and thank you for everyone that was involved. But just to add to it, the bus is coming back. The bus is coming back on the 16th of June, so it's coming on Friday, the 16th. We're going to share this bus between the Village of Otisville and the Town of Mount Hope. This time it's coming, and Jim, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm just saying, okay. The flyer's on the way out on the wall, I already have it up. The 16th, yes. It's going to be a town hall this time. I know one issue that we had here was a little bit of cell reception, so I believe 2, if not 3 people had credit card issues, but it finally did go through. I don't know what those issues are going to be down at Town Hall, but we're going to find out. If they work better down there, I would imagine that bus is going to go to Town Hall from now. If it doesn't, I would imagine it's going to come back here. But our parking lot was full on Friday. It was great to see. People stopped by just to see what the deal was with the bus. It is handicap accessible. They will put you on a lift and bring you up into the bus. It was good. I think it was good. I think it was good for the people, and I think it was good that it's here, and I hope to get it here every month. I thank Kelly Eskew, the county clerk. She's the one that made this happen. When she ran for office, this was one of her main goals to accomplish, and she accomplished it. So I thank her for that. I thank her for sharing with other municipalities. I see it's going to Walk Hill. Obviously, it goes to Deer Park and Port Jervis, but if you get on the county website, there's a listing of everywhere that it's going. And, like I said, I hope to get it back here monthly. Even if we're going to share with the town of Mount Hope, great. That means it would be here every 2 weeks. If you have transactions, great. I mean, I don't foresee 56 transactions every single time, but that's enough on that. The Dragon Boat Festival, there's a flyer hanging up. It's, which I don't have here, it's hanging up on the wall. We have it on our Facebook page. That's going to be Sunday, June 18th. It will be before or after our next meeting, but I just wanted to bring it up. There was a new flyer that I posted last night that I was sent with more updated information if anyone wants to know about it. I know this weekend coming up, the Mount Hope Historical Society at Day on the Farm. It's Sunday, June 4th. Again, flyers on Facebook, and I'm sure every single site around. Also this weekend, the 3rd and 4th, Otisville Fire Company kickoff the summer food and vendor event is happening up at the firehouse. This is the flyer for that. It is, let's see, Saturday 10 to 6 and Sunday 11 to 6. So if you can come out and support that or any of that, that would be great. And I believe that's all I have. Hello, Rory, how are you? Do you want to add anything?
Not yet, not off of that. I think we got some stuff coming up, but I'll chime in.
Perfect.
I appreciate the patience and apologies for
audience participation. Again, I'm just gonna remind anyone that would like to talk from the audience, we'll give you 5 minutes to talk. I don't need your entire name, first name, if you wanna give your last name, great, and just the town you're from. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, first name's fine, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But welcome to everyone, and whoever would like to go first, please feel free to stand up and say what you have to say.
Hi, my name is Jessica, I'm from Slade Hill, and I just want to share a little more information with the board. I don't know if you're aware of peer-reviewed, published journals that are published, but Andrew Paquette, PhD, submitted a published peer-reviewed paper to the Journal of Information Warfare entitled Caesar Cipher and Stacking the Deck in the New York State Voter Rolls, Volume 22, Issue 2. You can find it at jinfowar.com. The review took 6 months, a rigorous process by experts, likening to putting 3 expert witnesses on the stand in the court of law to attest to the accuracy of the material. The study has discovered strong evidence voter ID numbers have been algorithmically manipulated to produce concealed, hidden records. The secret fraudulent voter infrastructure allows for manipulation of elections in a way that is not easily detectable. Alteration of voter registrants to manipulate elections. Algorithms could be used to tag and track records of interest, such as cloned IDs and purge voters. Suspicious records connected to the same algorithm represent a series of security breach of voter rolls. Records can be tagged with attributed information, accessibly only to those who have knowledge of this algorithm in the database. This is in New York State voter rolls, 21 million. So this is a published scientific journal proven to be factual. All the information uncovered in the voter rolls needs to be investigated to protect all of us in this room, Democrat, Republican. We told you some of the findings already. This is, just needs to be investigated. And it's a published paper, scientific journal. So it's factual, it's not made up, it's not fake, it's true. So, we wish you would sign the resolution to protect all of us and move it forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question, you said there, it was online at infowars.com?
Jinfowar.
Journal of Information Warfare.
Yeah, so it's jinfo.
Journal of Information Warfare.
Yeah, but that's the jinfowar.com is where you can find this published paper.
That's not related to the Alex Jones Infowars?
No,
is it?
nothing, nope, this is like a peer-reviewed, scientific journal, published, it's nothing to do with that.
Jessica, if you write it down for him on a piece of paper.
Okay.
I wrote that. That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, it's jinfowar.com.
Thank you. Anyone else, audience participation? Please state your name and where you live.
Good evening, Mayor Carey, village trustees, and community members. My name's Nicole Houston. I know a lot of you already. Some of you are my friends. My husband Eric and I absolutely love Otisville and Mount Hope, and it is our plan for this village to be the location of our primary residence as we, in the next 10 years or so, look to retire. And we look forward to purchasing a home and property out here in the country. We attend many of the events here in this village and in the town, and we've gotten to know many of you in leadership, and I actually serve in leadership with some of you in this room. I'm on the Board of Education currently in Middletown, but I'm outgoing in that. I'm forming a school in Orange County, and I'm on the planning board and a delegate to the New York State Supreme Court. I wear many hats. I believe in the importance of serving community. We support you, my husband and I. We now ask you to support the will of the people that elected you into office. I'm here speaking this evening because the promise of integrity of our electoral process and voter security in the state of New York and in the United States is at stake, and securing these is of the utmost importance. Without election integrity, there is no hope for we the people. My husband and I are both are members of the New York Faith and Freedom Coalition. We meet twice a month in Newburgh, and we study the Constitution and learn, because over the course of the last couple of decades, it seems to be getting pulled out of the curriculum a little bit more at a time. So it's important for us to know what our duties are as citizens and what our rights are as well. And by the way, I'm not here in any official capacity. I'm just here as a citizen who loves my country. But I support the conclusions drawn and efforts made by Audit the Vote New York. I've read through them, and one thing that really stood out to me, which Bert Matos or Jessica, or maybe you have all read, but 7% of the New York State Assembly has a dumber, I misspoke, a dummy number, or like basically the number that you get assigned to vote is like a social security number. You're only supposed to have one for your whole life, but many of them who are in the assembly, 7% actually have more than one number and don't even know it. So I called it a dummy number, but I don't know if that's the proper term to use. So we gather twice a month in Newburgh because, and this is why we gather. This is a quote by Thomas Jefferson. I just want to share this with you because it resonates so much with me tonight. Who will govern the governed? There is only one force who will govern the governors? There is only one force in the nation that can be depended upon to keep the government pure and the governors honest, and that is the people themselves. They alone, if well informed, are capable of preventing the corruption of power and of restoring the nation to its rightful course if it should go astray. They alone are the safest depository of the ultimate powers of government. And Jefferson went on to say that once a republic is corrupted, there is, and I'm not calling you guys corrupt, I'm just saying the system of voting is looking like it's corrupt, by the way.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about, I love you guys. Once a republic is corrupted, there is no possibility of remedying any of the growing evils, but by removing the corruption and restoring its lost principles. Every other correction is either useless or a new evil. So that was something else Jefferson said. But this is not a partisan issue, because some might think in their minds, well, you know, Jefferson was the equivalent of a modern day Republican, but this is just as much an issue to the Democrats, Independents, Libertarians, any of the other parties, working families, as it is to Republicans. In fact, former presidential candidate and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said, "Voting is the most precious right of every citizen, and we have a moral obligation to ensure the integrity of our voting process." Lyndon B. Johnson, also a Democrat, "A man without a vote is without protection." So if our elections are compromised, then each man and woman citizen voter has been cheated and they remain without protection. This is where each of you comes in. Every representative sitting before me has all sworn an oath to follow the U.S. Constitution and the Constitution of the State of New York, and we the people thank you for serving us as a positive example, for serving the community. It is an honor, and I like you, in my own community municipality, I love that I have this honor and privilege to serve my community, and I have a righteous obligation to do so, and I'm happy to. So each of you gets to cast a vote, to sign a resolution, well, to pass a resolution and then sign it, that promotes securing the electoral process here tonight. Another one of our founding fathers, Samuel Adams, once said, "Let each citizen remember at the moment he is offering his vote that he is executing one of the most solemn trusts in human society for which he is accountable to God and his country." And I just want to close by saying this.
Thank you, but I'll let you close, but
Okay.
you're over your time.
Did I really? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, that's all right, that's all right.
Okay, I'm really quick.
I don't
but-
like interrupting people, because I know when you're on a mission, I get it, but
And I know you want to get home to go to
Yeah,
bed. I would
yeah.
say this is true for every municipality vote that is cast in a public session by our governing authorities. My friend Ms. Yazzo and others have provided solid evidence thoroughly researched by a statistical genius, he's a PhD, that questions the integrity of the elections here in the state of New York. And it may be happening at way higher of a level, that not, like, I'm not saying our county is off, doing bad things or anything. It could be happening at a very high level. So that is why I urge each of you to cast a vote in favor of passing a resolution to audit the vote here in New York and to sign your name to that resolution to secure the will of the people and protect our constitutional republic for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add this.
Yeah.
Audit New York has been here how many times? This is your third or fourth time? Third time?
Board meeting.
I think you're-
Down over
okay.
here.
I just want to say this, anyone else can speak, I have no, but we are ready to vote on this tonight, just, we're not passing it to another meeting, we are ready to vote on this.
Yeah.
None of us have discussed it with each other, but we're gonna do exactly what I would consider a roll call, and we are gonna get to it, you're obviously on the agenda, so I will say this, contrary to what anyone ever else wants to say, you're not gonna change my mind in any way, shape, or form of how I'm gonna vote. I can't answer for anyone else, but we are ready to vote on this, and I want you to know that, and I should have said that for you. But that being said, who else would like to speak in public comment? Yes, sir.
Totally different topic. Phil from Otisville.
Thank you.
I just want to, Memorial Day we had an outstanding turnout of the public. And I want to compliment the DPW, how great the park was. A lot of people commented to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? No one wants? Okay. Moving on, the procurement policy, under old business here. I guess the first and second, so just to make sure I'm right about this, Rory, the procurement policy and the best value local law are gonna basically be, well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it that way, the best value will be incorporated into the procurement policy.
Essentially, yes.
Yes,
It's a-
okay,
it's
okay.
a piece of it, but
Okay, you have everything you need for that. Can we push, you wanna push this to June 15th, next meeting?
well, that's up to you. I mean, you can have a discussion, you can make movement on the procurement policy portion, as far as the best value portion, being that it would require local law. You can discuss having, it on the agenda for introductory local law in front of you. I would have a draft of it.
Okay.
Talk about it, you really, it's about.
Yeah, there's a draft that's put together that would be in front of the board via email, so that you guys would be ready to,
So,
authorize that to go to a public hearing next meeting.
okay,
Let me clarify. It would be on the agenda for the next meeting, then you guys, similar to the local law that's in front of you today, and then you set that if it goes through to a public hearing at the next meeting.
okay.
You can move on the procurement policy as it stands right now and then incorporate the best value portion into the procurement policy. So it's,
Okay.
I think for the cleanest part, you could wait till the local law goes through. I would imagine it would, it makes sense
Yep.
to go through. So that's up to you about,
That's fine.
really about how you want
I just
your
want-
clerk to
I just
handle
wanna,
it.
I just wanna talk a little bit about the procurement policy.
Well- Real quick, I mean, from your end, do you want it to be,
I think normally, like, you guys come up with what you think you want the procurement policy to say. I could type it up for you and then get it back to you, get it to Rory for you to look at. And then, with your amendments, your proposed amendments, and then you could probably,
there's one new
Put it-
package?
do it all the same night,
Yeah,
right? Does
I
that
think,
sound
yeah, it
kind of
does.
what you were saying?
That's, thank you for clarifying. I mean, it sounds like the only material changes that are potentially on the table for the procurement policy are numbers. So the boiler, I don't wanna call it boilerplate, but at this point, your policy's been in place. The methodology to enacting it isn't gonna change, it's just really the numbers. So you discussed that tonight, you settle on that, we incorporate it in, that goes before you guys along with the best value. And then in 2 meetings, everything would be neatly packaged as one thing, assuming that all goes through. I don't wanna
I like it. No,
try and
no,
predict what you guys are gonna do, but
okay,
if that's good with everybody,
that's fine. Does anyone have a question on
that's.
what the best value local law would be? Does anyone have a question on that?
No,
why we would want to
that part I
approve.
understand.
Okay, the procurement policy. I know I left, and we kind of talked about this, I know I left 6 or 7 of them laying on my desk. Did anyone get a chance to either look at them, how other villages? I have some ideas, so I'd like to just take a couple minutes and discuss this. I'll tell you my ideas, and then we'll go from there, if everyone's good with that. Is that all right? Okay, all right. I would like to change the $3,000 to $4,500, and I would like to change the 3 estimates to 2 estimates. Now, if
For
we...
clarification,
Yes,
Mayor, just, I think for the public's part, when you say, I think there's some inside baseball that goes on. Right?
Yes.
So the 3,000, for purposes of procurement policy, is department heads, right? We're talking.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Just one.
Yes. I think there's an issue, and well, I don't want to say this. With leaving it at $3,000, there's just, there's some work behind it. Not that there should be, because we want to give the best value to taxpayers, right? We can all hopefully agree on that. We're not looking to shortcut anyone. We're not looking to, make it. I just feel that that number needs to go up. Other municipalities have gone up to that, if not higher. That's why I left some examples. I tried to get villages. Obviously, we are the 3rd smallest village in Orange County, for those of you that don't know that. But I just think we should be comparable. We follow the same rules, regulations that other villages would, but it's a little hard to sometimes get estimates on projects. So that being said, I started on your side. Let me start on this side. Lance, what would you like to add to that?
I remember you went over and, I agree that the 3,000, I felt too low this day and age, mainly with the price of things going up. I mean, the same thing you got for 3,100 now, you're not gonna get it for 3,100, and just as it supplies, so. To me, I felt it was kind of low. Had a problem with, cutting the trees down in the park. Price came in way too low on August and for a 9, so I have a problem with that.
Do you have a different number, or would you like to see something different, or?
I thought more of 5,000 myself would be a fair number. That's just me.
Okay, listen.
Only because
That's fine.
you try selling the car before for money, you couldn't get nothing out of it.
Okay.
The old DOC car, so like everything went up. So $3,500 to me is nothing.
Okay. 3,000.
3,000, right?
That's okay.
That's up to 5.
Okay. Diane, what would you like to add?
So the section that we're talking about, just so I'm clear, is, right now it's from 0 to $29.99.
Yeah.
That the department head can, what?
Can authorize a secure, doesn't need the estimate process that would normally go on above that.
Doesn't have to get any estimates.
It was authorized to make a decision, to spend that money without securing,
Estimates, but obviously it's supposed to be approved by the board, but without,
Yes.
without additional estimates. Up to the, I think it says up to the department.
It's not an RFP, it's not an RFP
Do you have it
process.
there to read? I didn't realize, right, I brought it.
Why is it not? I'm trying to-
Ultimately, we'd still vote on this, so it's not like.
The fire department. Fire department.
No, it just says,
Read
it
it.
just says right down there, the
Yeah.
following mention.
No, I mean, the number is capped at $29.99 to, without having to secure estimates or proposals. It's an it's the.
No estimates.
No.
Okay. So, and you're proposing to raise that to $39.99? That was
4,500.
yours.
4,500.
I would be more conservative than that. I just think that having to get a couple of estimates is no big deal. And I don't think, I mean, again,
There's still a
we're
good faith
making.
effort. I'm sorry, Diane, I just want to clarify, this is not something that can be a synopsis in 3 words or less of estimate thing. There is a section in your procurement policy that is literally reads from here to here in single line space. So I don't want to cheapen it by giving you something as simple as it's not an estimate. So I believe, I mean, you've worked with this, Brian, as someone who's tried to secure this. You've run into some issues, I believe, when we've talked. I'm gonna rely purely on what's in the procurement policy. I don't wanna, again, I don't wanna cheapen it by a quick synopsis, so, it's kinda hard for me to give you a quick thing without relying upon
Okay.
that policy.
And
You currently have it in place,
I'll go
so.
back and review it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but.
In general, my feeling is, I don't mind raising it, but I would not wanna see it raised above 4,000.
4,000 it is, okay. Fair enough.
So we have a 4,000, a 4,500, and a 5.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go right in the middle. I wanna, because like you said, I've been doing a lot of the bathroom stuff, trying to get quotes for guide rails for parks and everything else. It's hard. So raising it, I think, is essential. And I'm right in between the two of you. I was thinking 4,250, so.
You know, generally speaking, for what, and I have no opinion on what the number is, but the idea of it is to allow you guys to move on stuff at the pace you need to move on it.
Quicker,
right?
quicker.
That's why
It becomes like a hindrance of the process of making sure you don't unnecessarily spend.
Right. Well, that's
So it's
essentially
this balance, right?
that's
So the
what-
number, for me, is
Exactly.
irrelevant. It's just the idea of why you do it. So-
This is why I wish I had it in front of me.
Yeah, I can,
If you go over that amount,
yeah,
the requirement is that
It
you
changes
get
the requirements.
verbal
Yes.
bids, correct?
there is
Verbal bid.
this,
Verbal
correct.
bids.
That's
You
Yes.
just make a phone call, you say, can you supply this, can you not, how much is it, boom.
Correct, and the bids, it's different than the RFP, and it's different than the best value
Absolutely,
process, right?
that's
So
my point. This
it's
is
somewhere,
not a hard thing. And
Not
it-
necessarily,
It
no.
Not
maintains
necessarily.
the integrity.
Go.
When we're looking at making policy, I don't look at it just for a year. I look at it as, this is probably something, if it's working, it's gonna carry through, it's gonna carry through new boards. And the whole purpose of having that part in there is to maintain the integrity, to avoid partisan deals. I don't know how else to
I don't
put
think
it.
that's one of the pieces, for sure.
Yeah.
You re-up this every year, right? So you're essentially either at your reorg meeting or soon thereafter, you're re-upping this. So, you know, I think one of the things that's been brought up is between estimates, but just cost. You brought up, things have changed, right? Post-COVID, labor, lumber,
Oh, that's
you
why
know,
I don't have a
steel.
problem with
Right,
raising.
it may come back down, you may reevaluate this next year and say, well, we're in a different era, and then it can go back down.
But I
So
just
it's
wanted
not-
to make sure everyone was clear that threshold doesn't mean that you've gotta have like something like this, you know,
Exactly.
and that detailed. It simply means you have to pick the phone up and call a couple people.
Right,
Or you-
and you'll see as the numbers go,
Right.
and you go in between 3 up to 5, it requires 3 written and electronically processed, right? So,
Right.
but you're gonna, if you bump one up, that theoretically bumps,
Right.
you know, the rest up, so.
Right.
Yeah, that's all, I think
Okay.
you're hitting
So
it
my
very
feeling
well.
is to raise it up to the what, the $39.99. As far as the other part of it, you mentioned going from 3 bids to 2 bids. I don't see the purpose of that, I really don't.
That's fine. Listen, that's why we're a 5-member board, and that's why we're gonna vote on it. Brian?
My whole thing with just dealing with bathrooms and everything that I was talking about before, it's hard to get people to give you something right away, and it takes them weeks before they can even give you an estimate. And then, but if you give them a simple project like, hey, I just need this guardrail here, and you're talking to somebody local, and they come out and they say, oh, we could do that for $3,900. Okay, with the old one, all right, that's too high. Now I gotta call someone else. Can you get under that? If nobody can get on it, now we go through that paper process. That's what was the frustrating part, is that small number.
Well,
But now I have to get 3. Now, if I could just narrow down to 2, that's like, okay, let's get 2. And then, to me, I like the 2, because it expedites, it speeds everything up faster, so we can accomplish our tasks.
I printed off other municipalities because clearly everyone's going through this every year.
I was getting
Other
that from what I was
municipalities,
reading off
yes.
the ones you got.
Other municipalities have clearly raised it for good reason. We just seem to have not raised it. And I'm not saying that some people haven't besides us. I'm just saying, like, to me, 2 estimates instead of 3, you know. And the reason that I kind of like the best value that we don't have in there is, I'll give you an example, and Corey, correct me if I'm wrong. If we want to put an alarm system in our building down at the park, okay, and we put it out for a public bid, and a company from Massachusetts bids and a company from New York bids, and the New York bid is higher, well, I guess we'd have to look at it and say, well, the response time from New York is going to be a lot quicker than Massachusetts. Right? And if you look at it and you figure that out, maybe the best value is the New York one.
So, all right, let me, and I don't know everybody's knowledge level, I haven't worked with this board in too much detail, so I'm gonna start at the beginning again, right? So, the best value process goes to the bid process, the bigger stuff, right? So, putting that at the back end. We're just talking about raising the initial level, which is gonna, in theory, raise every other level, potentially, or at least maybe if it raises this up to say 4, then you've got to raise the next level up to 40001, right? You don't have to necessarily raise the next part of it. Okay. So you have right now in your procurement policy, you have stages of what is required, and then you get to your formal bid process at 20 and above, and that's where the best value would come in. It only comes in on that part, and I think that's what's usually discussed with best value. It's discretionary, doesn't have to be used, and it is about something like locality, or if someone can do it, like you're putting money into the pocket of a local business, and you know, if it's close and even, and you can build up a local effect, right? So those are separate entities. That the best value doesn't necessarily come into play with this raising the 3,000. Okay. The 2 bid process, I think when I've discussed it with other municipalities, and I think you've touched on this, is if it's only 3,000 on the table, someone's going to want to come out, give the time and effort to put an estimate in.
Right.
And I think that's where you run into the challenge.
Exactly.
Is it's not that you're not want to spend the time to get 3 estimates. Who's going to give you an estimate on a $1,200 project, or, well, really a $2,500, $2,700, $3,100 project? So that's where the leeway comes in to the 2. So you're not changing the 3-bid RFP process. You're not in a position to change that. So just want to make sure I clarify. Best values for the RFP process, and that seems like a no-brainer that everybody's on, or looks like everybody's on board with that.
Yep.
But you're talking about changing the 3,000, and then you've got to figure out, prior to voting on it, what that's going to do to the other stages.
Right.
Whether that even does anything to the back end of the other stages. It's going to raise the second stage, no matter what you do if you go above 3, because it wouldn't make sense. You would overlap.
Right.
So that's,
Okay.
and then you don't have to do it today. I mean, this is the part of discussing it.
Just talk about
Lauren,
it.
I have a question.
Yes,
And
I hope I have the answer.
me too. If I'm making phone calls to get bids.
Yes.
And the example is, you know, I've got a bid for this job for under $3,000, I'd like to get some more bids.
We're in the current procurement policy, right? Okay,
Would you come out and, you know, give us a bid?
yeah.
If the person says to you, no, we're not bidding on that project, we don't have the time to come out for that, does that not count as one of your?
We've always assumed that with the good faith estimate, that if we have a list of people who we've called and have said no, or
And
better
they
yet,
have,
we can
they
send an
have
email.
opted not to bid on it, then that counts.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it,
As long as you
playing
can-
it out, right? Let's imagine you have a project that falls into that, and everybody says no. I mean, are you gonna not be able to do the project because they didn't give you a formal estimate? I think a no is, to a certain extent, an estimate. I mean, perfect world, we wanna
Yeah.
have.
Right.
Yeah,
Does it need to be documented?
I would say that you certainly wanna memorialize it. I mean, if they're not gonna respond, I mean, email just memorializing, we had this conversation, if they don't respond to it, I mean, I don't know how you get them to guarantee that, but it would
Right.
seem that your memorialization of the conversation at least covers, you know, you can't force someone to
Right.
say
Yeah, that's
you,
exactly, that's
but
right.
I think if you say, you know, memorialize it, and you can CC me on it, and CC the mayor, I think you're doing your due diligence. I mean, good faith
Yes.
is a very esoteric term, it's a little gray, but I think we all know what it means in the municipal
Well,
world.
that's where I think people get when they start doing this, and Brian's doing it. when they start doing it, they get very bogged down in, like, I don't have 3 people giving
Right.
me numbers, you know?
I think that's, the idea of this is to make sure, and you touched on it, I mean, I think that's one example, I don't think that's every example, but partisan, you know, handing out to your neighbor the bit, you know, the deal, right? I think we try to make sure that you show you made a good faith effort, and so, however that's documented.
We're running in this right now
Yeah.
with the swing set. Swing set design that we picked fits our park, fits our layout, our footprint. They're the only company that's their design. It's the only way. So I'm having a hard time finding anything comparable to get the other 2 bids.
I mean, that does speak to it though, right?
Yeah.
The lack of
They're the only one
comparability
that
might make them clearly the right fit, right? So it's,
Exactly.
you know, void of an estimate, to a certain extent, is an estimate, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think you were touching on
Well,
that.
like what John is saying, if he had the specs for what we're looking for, sends it out and says, can you provide this? And they come back and say, no, we can't.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't have to have a number attached.
There are
They just-
unique things about Otisville that are not present in other municipalities, and even in parks, you know,
Yeah.
so I
Right.
think that's understood. But yeah, I think you cover your bases.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and certainly, that's something that I'm here to answer, not just on this spot, but if you're like, I can't get anybody else, I made these calls, or you're in your situation, then I'm here to opine on that, and that's
Yeah.
the layer of protection you get with counsel, so,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me finish this out, so,
Yeah, I'd be in favor of raising it to 4 to 5 is fine with me. I like your initial suggestion, I could support that.
Just, Mayor, just,
yes.
if whatever is settled upon, or wherever you see the range, from Diane to Bob, whatever it is, just, the proposal should come back with the ripple effect of how it trickles down to your RFP,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
All right.
Okay. All right, I guess we'll just push this to the, okay.
Make a motion on it now. I mean, if 2 of you are with 45, I'll get behind 45. I'm the closest one to you.
Well, I'm not,
I mean, I don't know if we can do that now.
the only thing I would hesitate to do that is there's a chain reaction. I was just kind of alluding to is the ripple effect on your next stages of your procurement policy.
Right.
In a perfect world, and I don't want to stop the momentum, but I'd rather have all of that settled on. And
Right, so listen, let's just hold your thought till next meeting. We'll write it out, break down the ripple effect, and we'll hand it out to everyone, and we'll go from there.
And then you'll have the best value local law draft, introductory local law in front of you, which basically tucks into the back of the procurement policy. And you'll be able to then vote on essentially your whole procurement policy, if that's all right.
Fair enough?
An
Anyone else?
abstract of the changes could actually be emailed to us before the
Correct.
next meeting, so that we've had a chance to kind of. internalize
Even with a
it.
if this then that, if you have like 4,500, then that would go to the next stage. And we can
Yeah.
kind of do it in a percentage-based way where,
It breaks down.
yeah, because I don't think anybody's, I think if you go to 4,500, you know that 4,999 is not going to work on your next policy in the
Right.
back end, so,
Right.
okay?
Got it.
Really seems like we're more concerned with the department head's unilateral ability to make the decision, right, without a bid process. After that, there's layers of protection that are in there, so I don't know that that's the concern. It seems like.
I
Did
don't
every,
think, well, I guess the only other part to the concern was it's 3 estimates when we start bouncing down, right?
all right, so I mean, that part can be voted on. It could be a 2-part vote. You have the number and then you have 100 votes. The rest of the stuff is, it doesn't seem like it's going to change. 3 written, electronically processed quotations as you get into the higher levels, and then you get into the RFP process. So I don't think that's being proposed to be amended.
No.
So it's really the first line item on the estimated amount of purchase contract, and I will be happy to lay this out in an email for everybody to look at.
Perfect.
All right?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Let's see, we have Audit New York resolution. Moving on down.
Yeah. I mean,
So just to let the people know that are here from Audit New York, came up with a resolution, which we're gonna find out if we all agree on, that is a little bit different, and I guess I'll use a little bit different than what was brought to us. So, if you would, Christine, do you mind reading this board resolution? And what I'm gonna do after you read this is I'm gonna do I'm just gonna go person to person, I'm gonna do a roll call. If you feel comfortable with this, I ask you to vote. If you don't feel comfortable with this, you're more than welcome at any point to say why you do or do not agree with this. But obviously, coming here as many times as you had, and I thank you for that if I haven't said that enough. I'll let you continue, Christine. Go ahead.
Board resolution, Village of Otisville Board of Trustees, integrity of voter rolls and information. Whereas the residents of the village and others believe that the official voter rolls should be kept up to date, complete, and properly safeguarded against data breaches, and the village board shares that belief. Therefore, it is resolved that the village board encourages and endorses efforts by state and local officials to keep voter rolls and information up to date, complete, and safeguarded from data breaches.
Okay, thank you. I just want to do a roll call on this, so I'm going to pick no one in particular here. I'm going to go in a little bit different. But Brian, I'll start with you. Brian Ladner.
Yeah, I'm all for it after researching it, absolutely, I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Mr. Klaus?
Are we taking the vote now, the roll call vote now?
Yes, sir. Oh, you want me to
Motion
read?
to take the vote?
Can I get a motion? I'm sorry, I should have read what was on the back of the sheet, I apologize. Okay, so let's see here. Can I get a motion that we vote on this?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Brian. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Diane. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That being said, we know how you feel, so we're back to you, Bob. And listen, say whatever you're gonna say. If you don't feel comfortable with this, then that's fine. If you feel comfortable with this, however you wanna do it. But I'm just gonna roll call it. So, Mr. Bob Klaus.
First, why is the resolution changed so drastically from the original resolution?
Well, the resolution that was presented to you the night that I think you discussed it was a resolution that was presented by New York Audit themselves, which is not uncommon for an applicant of any sort to present their own materials, including a pre-drafted resolution.
So I don't understand, are we calling for audit or not? This resolution as it's worded doesn't speak to
Well,
the audit.
you're
In other words, are we, does this resolution encompass the report from the Audit New York report?
Mayor, if you want me to answer, or you?
No, go ahead.
All right, I mean, this is such a lawyer answer, I apologize, but the resolution speaks for itself. What it says is what it says. You're not really in a position to, you can authorize an audit in name, but you don't have the mechanics as a board to, it would be done by a different body of legislature. You are supporting the idea, again, it speaks for itself. The way it reads is you believe that the integrity of voter rolls are important. This would eventually go to either the state senate, state assembly, or both, which would be the bodies that would, I guess, authorize the audit. So I don't want to speak beyond my knowledge base of the exact way the audit would work, but you're not in a position to, that your authorization would be in name only. It's supporting the idea that you guys believe that when it's carried to the legislature, at least by way of your resolution was presented to you today.
Yeah, so we're
This
doing
is
roll
not
call now,
unlike
right?
some of the, I'm sorry, Bob, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Oh, no, you're
I
not.
didn't, I was, my brain was going there. I would say that comparing this to other municipalities' resolutions that have supported New York Audit's mission,
Right.
goal.
Yeah.
This is not unlike that. For me, advising the board here, there doesn't seem to be much more, in my opinion, that you're actually authorized to do. You may get a different opinion from a different council. That's the opinion of the council that sits before you. Is you're essentially, the New York Audit may not agree with my opinion, but that's my opinion as advising this board. I don't think you are in a position to authorize more than and this is not uncommon also, is that you're giving, if I'm looking at playing it out, extrapolating what New York Audit may do, or another group may do, is they take a number of resolutions and they say, we have such and such municipality, and such municipality, and such municipality that support the idea that this needs to be done.
Right, which is their ultimate goal, as I understood.
So I don't know if, I can't see both sides, but I'm more focused on this group, because that's who I'm here to advise. That's what I was comfortable with, allowing you guys to resolve to.
I didn't want this to come down to saying, I agree, I disagree, I agree, I disagree. I wanted this to be where we could all, and again, vote how you're gonna vote, where we all would agree on something to help this group go to the next level. This group, to my understanding, talking to them numerous times before I even came on this board, was to get to every village, town, and city in front of their boards and to get some sort of commitment from those boards to work their way up to the legislator, to work their way up to the assembly, to work their way up to the state, the next level up. Obviously at our level, what they're looking for from us is support to say, we agree with this. We agree with what their ultimate goal is. I did not want this, listening to audience participation, I did not want this to come down to, I'm on this side of the fence, I'm on this side of the fence. I did not want this to come down to politics. I wanted this to come down to, someone wants to look into this, and I can agree with this. I can agree with what this resolution says. I know other municipalities have given them a similar resolution to this, and I think ultimately, even though it's not in the exact wording of what they brought to us, I think this is in the wording that will help them get to their goal, which the Village of Otisville is not their goal. They have a lot more to go to than just the Village of Otisville. I'm sure they have a lot more municipalities to get in front of. I will say this, when your goal is to a certain point, I hope you remember Otisville being here 4 times, but that's why this was rewritten, if that makes more sense.
Thank you very much.
So again, just to tighten that up in a neat little bow, the resolution covers what I thought you guys, if you were in support, or if it wound up being in support, what you're actually allowed to support. Because anything else would have been, again, in name only, and I think would have mechanically defeated the resolution's purpose if you wind up supporting. Saying that you can do X, Y, and Z, I just don't think is something that you guys are really in a position to authorize. So it would be,
Okay.
is that,
Yes.
Anybody have any
No,
questions
listen,
beyond
I
that?
think it's like, listen,
and Mr. Klaus, does that satisfy?
Sure.
Or-
Sure. So we're doing the roll call, right?
yes, sir,
I vote nay.
no problem. Lance?
Yes, I've been to all the meetings they have come to. I read and I agree with them, I'm voting yes.
Thank you, sir. Diane?
Okay, the resolution as it's presented before us, I'm in favor of, so I will vote yes. Because I do believe in the integrity of the voter rolls and information. However, I am not voting yes on this resolution to help further the support of this group, but because this is something I believe is important.
That's fine. Okay, thank you. That's 3 votes. So, we have a resolution. I know you guys would probably like something to take home today. So, I will hand this to, I think Lance, you already signed it. And if you will, throw your signature on there. gonna vote on this, and I'm voting yes myself. So you are gonna walk out here with 4 signatures tonight.
Thank you
And
very much.
I wish you luck in whatever other municipality you're going to next. I've had a lot of in-depth conversations with you guys. I think your goal is, yes, I do. I think it's admirable, absolutely, for standing up, believing in something. So give me 2 seconds and I'm gonna have Christine fill this out. We'll continue with our meeting. Okay, let's just go through here, so thank you again. Quarterly reviews, we already talked about that. If we didn't, they're done. New business, community development block grant funding for 2024. Christine, what do you want to add to this? What would you like to say about this?
I would like to say that we have been applying, as you all know, for the last few years for our CDBG funding to have water main, to try to get grants for water main. With the new census, our median income has become too high for us to be able to qualify to get a grant to get water main.
But,
all is not lost. Nicole Anderson has advised us that we would probably qualify, and you know, there's never a guarantee that that our project will be picked. But she said a qualifying project for us would be ADA sidewalks. Because of the fact that it's generally assumed that the people that would be taking advantage of ADA sidewalks are going to be in the lower median household income. They can only pay for sidewalks, and we have to provide them pictures. She said we would probably get more points if I give her the minutes from those old meetings where we had people come and say they couldn't use them and they were disabled. We would get more points if we try to keep it around 125,000. We would, you know, we can show pictures. Well, Jeremy feels that we can probably do most of Highland Avenue.
yes, from Village Hall to the bridge, that's the goal.
For 125,000.
It's $40 a
For
square foot.
a square foot. I mean,
That's the goal.
he has to look at it.
Yeah.
That's his quick deal,
Oh,
you know,
that's on the list. Just not for
they
this.
can only pay for sidewalks that are not ADA, you know, that aren't useful, you know, sidewalks that are damaged, sidewalks that have ruts in them. But also because our sidewalks were never made wide enough because they're almost 20 years old at this point, that in itself makes them qualify because they're not ADA. So they're not ADA compliant. So we have to move on this pretty quickly. It's gonna cost $2,000 for the application. And we would basically, because the deadline, I think, was the 23rd or 24th or something like
So
that.
we have to set a public.
So we would have to set a
yes,
public hearing
for
for
next meeting. Yes, and we're putting some pressure on
Jeremy.
Jeremy to get this done and to get this, so we have to the 23rd of June for him to do his part. So he is gonna do his part, and I'm hoping by setting a public hearing, for, which we're gonna talk about here, for the next meeting, that we can get our part done. And God willing, we'll get approved to get some sidewalks fixed. So that being said, I skipped around a little bit here, but that's for new business. All right, so, motions and resolutions, number 13 here. Yeah, Christine, you wanna read this part?
Where are we?
Or 13?
Okay, 13, okay. We need to have a motion to vote on a board resolution to adopt local law 1 of 2023, a local law to establish a real property tax exemption for qualified volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers. So we want to take a vote, have a motion to take a vote and then do a roll call.
Okay. Can I get a motion on this?
We have to vote on it.
Motion that we take a vote on the resolution as it's presented.
Second. Thank you, Brian. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Let's just do a quick,
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay,
We need a motion to approve the application of Peter Johnson as a member of the Village of Otisville Volunteer Fire Department.
I'll make a motion to approve Peter Johnson.
Yes.
thank you, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We need a board resolution to approve the annual contract for fire alarm monitoring at the firehouse for July 1st through June 30th.
I'll make the motion on that as well.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board resolution is needed to approve the annual contract for fire alarm monitoring at the Village Hall for July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024.
Second motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And a motion is needed to set a public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant application for funding year 2024 for June 15th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Village Hall, 66 Highland Avenue, Otisville, New York.
Can I get a motion?
I will make the motion for that as well.
Thank you, Brian. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Diane. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving along. Approval for the bills. Can I get a motion?
Move we pay the bills.
Thank you, Bob. Second?
Aye.
Hold on a second. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We added this onto the agenda, just if you have any comments for board comments. I know the town usually does this, so if there's something at the end of this meeting you would like to say, we'll go with you, Diane. What would you like to say?
Good.
Okay.
Fuck it up.
Lance?
I'm good.
Get out and vote, that's school budget.
Thank you, Brian.
Just that it was a very nice trip down to Dragon Springs. It was very interesting. Learned a lot. It's a beautiful architecture.
We went for a tour, a couple of us went for a tour, and it will be opened up for the second half. I will get an email out to anyone that wants to go in the future. We'll schedule something on a day that other people can go, so.
I do have one thing, it's a question for Jim, I do want that. With the school vote, if the school budget passes this time, will summer rec be after school?
I'm gonna be honest with you, it depends on the number of kids. If it's, right now, if we don't have a lot of kids, it's not worth having it at school, so we'll probably have it still at the rec center. But if we have a good turnout, then yes, we would love to use the school, because the park's right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to double on that, do you have a number in mind for that?
Hey, I think anything over 50, we will have to use the school probably.
Okay.
Thank you. The only thing that I would like to add is, Phil, thank you to the VFW for your Memorial Day event that you had brought up. I would like to plan something along the lines of a Veterans Day parade possibly, or we kind of discussed something maybe for Vietnam vets, which is a veteran, yes, so.
Is the town not doing their Veterans Day parade?
I'm not sure if they are, but I'd like to get involved with it. So I had a couple ideas for the Memorial Day parade that the supervisor and myself, and I think Christopher talked about. But I'd like to do something maybe a little above and beyond what they normally do for at least for the VFW guys. Like a convertible for everybody, that kind of thing. Yeah, not to keep, obviously, but to ride.
Oh, I totally misunderstood that.
I will work on another page.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, can I get a motion to close this meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Let me just turn the video off. Thank you.